Welcome. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Slight hiccup in the program. Hopefully, one that'll resolve itself momentarily. But welcome back to. This is night 2 of recording Pillars of Eternity. I have yet to release a single video, and so I have no idea as to whether or not anyone likes the series, or if anyone has any suggestions for it, or anything else. So. Hopefully, I will start getting around to uploading these videos before too terribly long. I just have a number of other things to get first. So yes, I need to rest. I need to pick up my next companion. I need to do all that. Awesome.
Gods keep you.
Oh, greetings and welcome to the Black Hound Inn. The innkeeper bows her head curtly. Please sit where you like. Would you like a drink or a room? We have 2 available at the moment. I'm afraid we can't offer much by the way of a good meal today, she sighs, unless you're fond of cold porridge. Like a room, please. I could use some reliable help. Do you know of anyone looking for work? That's how you do the extra play, like the making your own custom mercenaries. They always start one level below your main hero, I believe. But you get to, especially if you do it like right now, you can... You can keep them up at a pretty even level and go pretty hog wild. It's pretty great, If let's play on higher difficulty, I'd definitely go for those guys, but I want my story! So anyway, can I see what we have for sale? I'd like to know more about the Black Hound, or you only serve you only serve porridge. I'd like to know more about the Black Hound. Really? Well, let me see. The actual building's been here for years, but the Black Hound's fairly new. We got a lot of new faces in here, too. Fewer than we used to, I'll admit. Also going to try and keep an eye on the time and time these episodes a tiny bit more effectively. I used to work at the tables, actually, until the old owner up and left. Nobody's sure what happened to him. Even left his poor hound behind. That's the name, see? The Black Hound? It's still sitting upstairs pining after him. Poor old girl. Place ended up in my hands. In my hands somehow. She laughs. My very own inn. A lot of hard work involved, but it's been worth it so far. So you only serve cold porridge? Athley looks at you and shakes his head quickly. It isn't by choice, I assure you. We used to serve some of the finest meals in Drywood. We had a damnable run of luck, it's all. It's been a bad season for the crops, and we're running low on supplies. I see Tennerfin up north to stock up. I sent Tennerfin up north to stock up. Tennerfin's our cook, you see, an artist with a good roast, but it's been days since he was supposed to return, and we haven't seen any sign of him. She sighs again. I've only just taken from the last owner myself. I don't know what I'll do if he doesn't turn up. I could try and find him for you. Really? Her face brightens. I'd be grateful to you if you did. He was traveling through the Valewood. It's probably nothing, a broken wheel maybe, but I do worry. So that's probably the caravan of food we found. You see him safely home, and I think everyone in here would sing your praises. Nobody much likes porridge. Do some reliable help. Do you know anything looking for work? And what do you have for sale? Athen opens his mouth, but seemingly reconsiders. Nothing for me, thanks. Of course, we're running a little short on goods these days, but we ought to have more soon. So yeah, I'm fairly certain that the caravan we saw earlier is probably the one that she's looking for since it was full of food. So we'll, when we get the chance, we'll swing back out there, double check on that, and try and look for the blacksmith's lost supplies as well. And hopefully that will be good. Okay, so... if I wanted to buy an adventure, it would be 250 CP for a level 1 adventure, which would be the level I could get them at right now. I think you can also buy cheaper adventures if you are higher level. Yeah, you can eventually get people who are crazy higher level, but if you want to be cheap, you can still hire lower level people. I can retry a character, party management.
How do you do?
Yeah, late for dinner. Fine Tenefred. Blah, 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 blah. Hello again. Please, where blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, hey. I'd like a room, please. Well, of course. We keep them nice and tidy. I mean, I definitely could have just gone right from there, but I like to do this formally. So, as with previous games, you can hire better quality rooms if you would prefer not to sleep in squalor. But unlike prior games, instead of just giving you more health back, what they do is they give you bonuses for proceeding rest. So a common room, which is free in this particular tavern, it gives you nothing. A laborer's room would give me +1 perception, +1 mechanics for the next 2 rests. And a drywood priest room, which would cost me 150 CP, would give me +2 resolve. So these would be skills, and this would be a that's perception and mechanics. Okay, so that'd be +2 to resolve. It's pretty good stuff, but for now, I'm gonna save my money. I'm just gonna rest in a common room. I am having the weirdest dreams. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of the gilded veil gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like a moldering fruit. Her hands hang limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty. Behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air, she speaks a word. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with a new queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see the woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. Alright, visions and whispers. Find the dwarf woman from your dreams. See, I believe once we've talked to her, we'll be able to get the warrior Bella, and once we have him, assuming there's anything I need to do in town, quest-wise, I will hit the road and try and find those missing caravans. Rearranging my my stuff. Ooh, hello. I will take this, please. Thank you. Okay, so let's see here. The hanging tree is over here. So, okay, D is the speed up for that. But for now, that would be the woman we're looking for. Hello, Fruity. Carl D. Benzie. The squat, descended body of an elderly dwarven woman dangles from a thin, crooked, broad that sags. The sags at the tug of her nose. Okay. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope and that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward, rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. Lolling, one side to the other. The, cough. Sorry, been not sleeping particularly well and starting to catch up with me. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings, but there is a tepid warmth to it. You feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. Reach out to the woman, leave the body alone. Let's touch the body. You take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focusing on the objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out towards the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there is a sudden jolt in your mind, a ringing, electric surge of images and words and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she is staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog. Her body is still swaying in the wind in a wind you no longer feel, from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
Ashley thinks, how are you able to speak to me? I need to understand what's happening. I think I survived a Bay I think I survived a Bay week. You know why that would be?
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up. A soul can be heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls, we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me, no?
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice.
Thank you, creepy dead woman. Look, I need to understand something that happened to me. She nods, a look of pity on her face as though consoling a child.
The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten. You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
So this might be a dumb question, but what's a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on, some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world. They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how. A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them. Know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies. See memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well. A wonder!
Good lord, that's an interesting view on death and reincarnation. What do you mean when all goes well?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
She smiles at you reassuringly, fanning out a tuft of long whiskers that sprout from one of her cheeks.
You should see old Meerwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
So the Kenua is the place that you get. It's your fortress, your keep. And not too far past that point is where I stopped the first time, so we're not yet at undiscovered territory for me, but we're getting there. You said his soul breaks apart over time.
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success. No. A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually, I think.
She clicks her tongue. So, yeah, just to kind of explain this a little bit for the back seats. From what I'm able to understand about this, basically the idea is that when you die, your soul will be reborn. You will come back, but the process kind of involves you wandering about until you are brought back, and in that time, you lose parts of yourself, and occasionally you pick up other parts of other souls that have been lost as well. But ultimately, it's sort of like universal entropy. Like the overall amount of soul being in total that is being lost is ultimately greater than the amount being reclaimed by other souls, and so, at least at some rate, the entirety of spirit is very gradually disappearing, and watchers like us, like April the Paladin, are souls that have managed to resist being torn apart by this process, at least for a while. And so they are stronger and more resilient, even if once I die, it's unlikely that will remain true for any great length of time in the grand scheme of things. Anyway, I know something about you, dwarf lady.
Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Who are you?
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
So, what happened to, you? She laughs, a rasping, croaked cackle escaping between rows of buttery yellow teeth, causing her body to bob up and down with each spasm. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of cheer.
You're a delightful, morbid old lady.
Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance. I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence, the permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
No, tell me.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
Obviously, I'm not. Yeah, obviously, I like her. She's a feisty old gal, and what happened to her is a damn shame. And the brutality of Lord Radric is ultimately pretty fucked. However, it's fairly clear this lady was, scamming the shit out of him by just going like, oh, well, she's healthy, but, oh no, she's imbalanced, and she has all these problems, I'll fix it, I'm working on it, I'll fix the problems that she doesn't actually have, just keep paying me, and, eventually he got fed up and had her hung. So, what's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been. To hear the locals tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us? The best? Inspirations. Miracle workers. My parents were soul twins. Miserable before they met, empty inside. It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories. Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid.
Honestly, animancers sound kind of awesome.
It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear.
I had another question.
Of course, dear.
You know what? No, I don't believe I'm imagining things, so, I'm gonna just go, but, thank you, old dead lady. It's been a blast.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Cordella closes her eyes and her head slumps forward over the news, as your surroundings seem to bleed into your vision from some unknown place of waiting. April granted, Crucible of Souls. Of Soul. Athling looks at you through narrowed eyes. Are you alright? You seem lost just now. I gained a shitload of experience. I'm a watcher. I'm fine. This happens a lot. You'll get used to it. I'm a watcher, I guess. His arched eyebrows recede into his hood. Well, that is interesting. He gives you a sly grin. And I expect this is something to do with that hooded figure in the ruins, In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share things. Do you know anything about the Watchers? Only that they're rare and that they seem to have a unique insight into certain soul conditions, he coughs. As you just demonstrated. Well, let's continue on. You ready to come with us? The smell of pipe smoke, at once earthy and sweet, winds its way into your nostrils. Your eyes trace the smoke to its origin, where you find a broad man with straw-colored hair leaning against a mossy rock wall, his pipe held in his lips with one meaty hand. He looks you directly in the eyes, but the look is not aggressive. He regards you with a peculiar smile.
17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
I'm sorry?
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
I wasn't, but that's a very enlightened attitude. Thank you. What are you talking about?
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Ethan frowns. Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19. Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
You're talking about how you're going to be hung next and that we're going to die as well reasonably soon? That's cheerful. Well, it makes you think I was interested in the dwarf woman. He looks at you a moment, his brows arched. His smirk
I was
broadens.
smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Impossible. I don't drool half as much. Okay. Do you know what Watcher
Careful,
is?
friend. Best not use that word round here. Could be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot. Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be. Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf. Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
None taken. By the way, can I just say, your smoky voice is the hottest goddamn thing on the planet. Like, holy shit. This guy is, I like this guy's voice a lot. You think you're going to be, hanged? Alright. That was supposed to mean none taken. Yeah, none taken. Good. They don't mean it personal when they hang folks here. I have to remind myself.
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there.
Oof.
My headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
The war? Saints' War. Only one in my lifetime. Fellow decided he was the living incarnation of Ithios. Overthrew Ridcras, marched on Drywood, so we gave him a Drywood hello. It was a Drywood and hello.
We blew him up.
But, fair enough. He smiles at this, but it is a smile of one recounting a joke for effect rather than enjoyment. Who's Ethios? I actually do know this, we've already gone over in the character creation video. I had another question. I got time. Why is your headman hanged? Got involved. Radcrit sent men down here the other day. Said they had it on good authority someone in town was working with Kolos, plotting Radric's overthrow. Said if he didn't come forward right away, then and there, they'd hang every last one of us. No one coming forward, so Smithin, that's my headman, he steps up and says it's him. They took him at his word. He sighs and shakes his head, his eyes fixed on the tree. Bound to happen sooner or later. It's not for plotting against Radgrin, then it's for protecting me. What does the town have against you?
Pick the wrong god. That's what it comes down to. Used to be a lot of Aethys worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea.
Again, so for those of you who didn't watch the character creation thing or need a refresher, Aethys is the god responsible for the Saints' War, the one whose living incarnation went to war against the Drywood and was blown up. And as a bit of trivia, my cleric for the first run was an Aethys worshipper. So I felt a great deal of kinship with Eldrin here the first time I met him.
Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him. Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back.
Sorry for your loss.
After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side. And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me. Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Radric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
So, yeah, the only guy sticking up for him has been hanged. Awesome. Aethys goes to the year's largest voice. You can see why I'm eager to leave. Who is Clothos? Someone who got tired of all the hanging. He is the one, he's on the run now. Probably will be till they catch him. If you're next to be hanged, what are you still doing here? He gives you a half smile. Drinking, mostly. Point of fact, I'm on my way out. Just haven't figured out where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that don't think Waywin's legacy started with Waydwin. We could travel together. Where are you headed? Someplace called Kelnoon. There's an old watcher there who might be able to help me.
I seem to remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say watcher with a hush on your breath. A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
There's a fine reason if I've ever heard one.
Alright then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
He tilts his head forward and gives you a pointed look. He did just watch me staring at a dead dwarf for quite a while, so I mean, can't really blame him for that one. Alright, let's get going. Yay, friends! I'm going to level him up and then I'm going to cut and we'll start on the next recording. So if you don't want to see the character leveling, you can stop now and not miss anything. So I always like to start with whatever is his thing. Gonna bop up his mechanics as well because mechanics is just a really fucking solid thing. Athletics, because that's actually super good for warriors now. Okay, then let's see here. We can give him rapid recovery. Boosts the fighter's hardiness, increasing the rate of his constant recovery. Let's see here. Plus, that's pretty good. I like big toughies. Or bonus knockdown grants the fighter an additional use of the knockdown per encounter. So it starts out at 2 and bring it up to 3, which is, you know, pretty solid. For now, I'm gonna give him rapid recovery, just help him continue to regenerate. Once I've got a better idea for, what weapons people are using, I'll probably start weapon specializing. But for right now, let's start with some healers, some healins.
Yeah.
Fragments of a Scattered Faith. So, anyway, I will cut here as promised, and we will be back in the next video. So, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bloop. And